Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Good Bit Podcast. Settle down, relax, get comfy, as we have a big film on our hands this week. It is Christopher Nolan's Inception, and it is definitely one to be thinking about. It's definitely one to be talking about, but it's not really the sort of film that you want to take notes on, because as you'll hear throughout the episode today, myself and one of our very special guests that is about to be revealed, tried to take notes, and it was hard because the film is so confusing sometimes. It's so thorough, and it's so... I'm going to start again.
No, that's the first time that's happened ever. You're going to keep that in. That is staying in. Well, I want the people to know that you are not a perfect intro churning machine. This is the intro now. Don't give me that shit. Don't you dare edit this out.
I didn't have another word for Inception, so I just gave up.
I have never seen that. God, what is this? What is this year coming to?
I know.
I've never seen you like that.
Been on such a roll this past season of The Good Bit. Every episode, the intros have been on point.
On point.
Apart from today. Yeah, there's only one reason why the intro was first. That's because of our special guest today. Leanne is back on the show. Can you believe it? One of our most frequent guests back in the day before COVID. We are now remote, and she's finally back. Leanne, how are you today?
I'm absolutely fucking hell.
This is going well.
We're on top form today.
I'm absolutely thrilled to be here on my favourite podcast.
How have you been is the main thing, because listen, we've all had a tough year. We're kind of on our way out now. And you've been, texting me every so often, listening to the podcast, which I greatly appreciate. I'm not going to hope that you say that the podcast has been your only sense of joy the past year, but how have you been? How's your movie watching been the past year? Tell us a little bit about what you've been watching.
I would say the good bit has been the light at the end of the tunnel for me. It's
Great line.
Yep. I've been. I started uni. I got into third year. So I go to UWF. So I've got online uni, which has been very odd. Obviously, I've never set foot on. I went to campus once for an interview, and I've not been back. And I have done a full term there. So that's been weird, but it's doing the best we can. For a while, I was doing well with watching a lot of movies, but I was the same as I've been listening. I know that you were like kind of falling out of like watching movies all the time.
Absolutely.
So I'm kind of the same. But I've got Letterboxd, obviously I keep track of everything there. I have the most stupid, ridiculous reviews. But
no, I like it though. I like Letterboxd because for the both of you as well, because I can see what you've been watching and stuff. It makes me go, they're still enjoying movies. What is your Letterboxd account for the listeners to follow you, if you can remember?
I think it's just Leanne Violet.
Okay, we'll even put that wee link in the description box of the podcast if people want to follow Leanne. I am at CM42TV, which is the same as the Twitter and the YouTube channel. Aaron, do you know your name on Letterboxd? I think it's Aaron Doc.
I'm on it. I'm Aaron Doc. I'm trying to find Leanne because I love Letterboxd for that reason.
Well, I follow you, but you never followed me back.
Well, listen, the reason that Leanne's on the Good Bit was to bring that up and embarrass Aaron on there.
Jeez. Where do you even see your followers?
It's on your account.
Well, I've actually been followed by a few of my friends, and I have not followed them back.
You haven't even realised.
I followed you back.
Thank you.
There we go. Now you'll know what Leanne's watching. The only problem is, though, sometimes, like, if we're going to do the episode of the podcast, I'm like, I wonder what Aaron thought, but I already know because I saw his thing.
That's the thing, right? When I was watching Inception this morning, I like to look at reviews when I'm watching the film.
Oh, really?
Like, I just like to ruin things for myself. And when I went on Letterboxd this morning, first thing I saw was Chris Moff, Inception, and the rating, and I was like, well, he liked it.
Right. Spoiler.
Spoiler. It happened when Aaron and I were going to do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Because we were actually together, and we said we're going to do old school, good bit fashion, go see the film together and not say anything until we get in front of the microphone. And we actually had to wait overnight to be recorded in the morning when I was staying with you.
Yeah.
And I looked on Letterboxd because I went in to rate the film myself, and it was like Aaron Doc on 5 stars. And I was like, oh, well, I know what he thought about it then. So, but yeah, I've not seen actually what Aaron's written about Inception or Leanne, so I'm really interested to see what that is all about. Aaron, how are you this week? Again, kidding on, no technical issues happened, but I'm going to ask you the question again. Just
getting over trembling in fear post-horror film syndrome that occurs every time I watch a horror film, and is the key reason why I don't watch horror films.
Yes.
Really, look, I enjoyed Blair Witch. I think I made that clear.
Yes.
It was a good time. It's like a roller coaster. Horror films are like roller coasters. You get scared, you feel alive, you survive.
Yes.
But it's not that I don't like about horror films. For me, it's the aftermath. It's the walking in the woods the next day. I can't deal with that stress. Why do it to yourself?
My question is, why are you walking in the woods?
Because I've been walking in the woods every day with my headphones in, listening to an audiobook for the past 3 weeks. And I realized after I watched the film, I was like, well, that's screwed.
Can't do
Can't
that
do that
anymore.
anymore. That's just taking away joy from my life. So I take issue with horror films where that's concerned. I'm a
Right.
sensitive boy.
I know, and we said at the end of the last week's episode that we've just done a horror film. That's fine. Next time we do a horror film, maybe Halloween in October.
It will be Halloween. Yeah.
So that's fine. But I do think on record, I've said that I think last week's episode is our best one we've done so far. So if anyone has not heard it yet, please check out last week's episode about the 1999 version of the Blair Witch. Leanne, have you seen Blair Witch?
I have not. I will be watching it so I can listen. I like to watch the movie before I listen to the good bit so I can
Excellent.
discuss with you even though I'm not speaking to you.
Well, listen, we're always happy to get feedback not only in the podcast but also in the films. So if you do end up watching the film, I'd love to know what you thought about it. Because you watched Terminator, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I was talking to Aaron about it. I liked it a lot, to be fair. It was not what I expected. It was like I was saying to Aaron, like the seeing where the iconic lines come from is kind of fun. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and the 80s music it was something.
Yeah. I also said to Aaron the other week I'd watched Terminator 2, and that's always everyone's like, Terminator 2 is better. I can confirm it is.
Yeah, my brother said the same because he came in when I was watching it and he was like, watch T2. And I was like, well, I will when the good bit do a podcast on it.
That'll be Halloween too.
Yeah.
That'll be the Halloween one. Yeah.
Leanne, are you familiar with the Good Bit Kitchen?
I can't say I am.
I think we did that one on the Grand Budapest episode, yes. And you might not have heard the Grand Budapest one.
I've not listened to it because I've not watched the movie yet.
Right, so it's a new system we've come up with. It's always important to repeat it, just so people,
new listeners, absolutely.
New listeners. And we actually didn't do it for Blair Witch, so should we do that now?
Yeah, sure.
It's a new rating system that we've come up with. I think we used to do it on the old Good Bit. We sort of, at the end of every review, we'd say, right, so out of 10, use decimals if you want. But we wanted to recreate that in some way. It's just a nice way to bookmark like a chat on a film. Yeah. It's like, and what do we all think of it? But decimals and the numbers are boring. So we thought we'd make a Good Bit kitchen. So
state-of-the-art kitchen.
It's a state-of-the-art kitchen. We've got many people in the dishwasher is Ewan. It's also where the misery corner is. You sort of just picture this. Do you know what I mean?
You can see it there in front of you.
We're painting a landscape. You know what I mean?
Where would Leanne be? I feel like Leanne would be right at the windowsill, sitting there, cooling down because you're so hot.
You are? Oh well, yeah. But you're literally on my windowsill right now. That's where I've got the phone set up.
There we go.
There we are.
So Leanne's on the windowsill. Ewan's doing the dishes. So we've got 5 categories within this kitchen. And at the end of a film review, you put the film somewhere in the kitchen. So you hate the film, the worst film you've ever seen. Lowest category, put it in the bin, the kitchen bin.
Yeah.
Goes in the bin.
The next category, Chris.
Next category is that if you weren't too sure you like the film or not, but you really just need to get some stuff off your chest, you need to grill it. It needs a good grilling. You put it in the George Foreman.
Next up is the middle ground. So in between the two extremes, we've got the kitchen table, the island bench. You put the film there if you're really not sure what to do with it.
You don't know what to do. That's not a good or a bad thing, though. It's more about just I like the film, but I don't really know if it's any better than this film, or I didn't like the film, but it's not as bad as this film. It's just I kind of island in the middle,
Yes.
Then, Chris.
And then after that, we have to go towards the fridge, because the film was really good. I thought it was cool. Thought the film was cool. Put it in the fridge. It's there. I'm happy for it to be there and sit there for a while until I want to revisit it.
Exactly. And then You've got the Holy Grail. We don't have any films that we've watched so far in this category because I think it's a holy category and we shouldn't use it. We should
I
use
nearly
it
put one
sparingly.
in there the other day, but then
Yeah.
Aaron was like, "Nah, it needs to be Holy Grail."
Nah, it needs to be Holy Grail. So that's the freezer, where you want to lock it away, seal it, keep it there forever because it's the best thing you've ever seen. It's changed your life.
These are the greatest films of all time, or in fact, I should say these are the favourite films of all time. So all the films that are on my top 5, Aaron's top 5, Leanne's top 5, Ewan's top 5, all these films at some point will be stored in the freezer. But like we loved Knives Out, for example, like that went in the fridge, and then we were a bit kind of like, yeah, we liked Terminator. You know, it's not anything special or anything. Maybe put it on the kitchen table. Like it's that sort of thing, and with like a sort of average system between the two of us. The problem is, there was only two of us sometimes, so it's good to have a third opinion so we can kind of like even out and see where the actual film is going to sit. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so
it's confusing, but I think it opens the doors.
I've got it. So
Got it.
Terminator would be on the kitchen table. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
There you got it.
So I ask Aaron now, not to spoil anything for Leanne, who's not seen the film yet, but Blair Witch from '99. Where does the Blair Witch Project sit in your mind? Because it did, you know, torment you, but it was a good film.
Right, yeah, but this is not scientific, so I'd be inclined to put it in the bin because I want rid of it.
That's
I
what
want
Aaron
rid of it
keeps
in my
saying.
mind.
As Aaron keeps saying every time, it's not scientific, but it's fine.
It's feelings. I'm done with these. Like I've given this film a 7.7. It's like we're not dealing with you know maths here. We're dealing with emotions. We're dealing with films. It's subjective. It's in the bin for me because I'm inclined to put every horror film, no matter how good I think the film is, in the bin because I want rid of it. I'm not going to grill it.
I wouldn't
I'm not going to grill it, but it's in the bin.
I wouldn't say I want rid of it because I would actually be curious to see it again. You know,
So would
what I mean?
I, but it wouldn't. I know it would be bad for me. I've got to put it in the bin. I've got to shut the lid.
You said last week if you'd be interested to watch this film again instead of watching the remake, but watch it with someone else.
Then we'd both have to climb in the bin and watch it.
Right. I can't justify putting it in the bin. However, it's not as good as Terminator or a couple of other films we've talked about. You know what I mean? Like Last Jedi sitting on the kitchen table. Like it's not as good as Last Jedi. You know what I mean? So I don't know. If I'm going to put it on the grill, you're going to need to try and talk me into saying, "Oh, it deserves to go in the bin."
Listen,
It's not scientific.
It's not scientific. It's not scientific. Listen, I'll
So
be
confusing.
okay if you want to put this film in the grill because I'm happy just to give it a wee, just squish it a wee bit for now, but I might get it out later and torment myself a bit more.
I suggest we put it in the grill just now because you may consider watching it later and you may decide at a later date you want to put it in the bin. But for right now, I think you enjoyed the film enough to not put it in the bin.
But it scarred us both a little bit, just a teeny wee bit.
Yeah, but this is Blair Witch. This is even one of the worst horror scary films ever.
I'm aware.
Okay, well I'm putting it in the grill.
Brilliant.
Right, brilliant. Where would you put Terminator, Leanne, then? Kitchen table?
Yeah, kitchen table.
Okay, cool. And we'll report back our opinions on Inception at the end of this episode. I just want to touch in with Leanne's set here. She has some movie posters in her background. I know this is not a video program, this is an audio program, but if you can tell us the posters that you have, it's very impressive.
Yeah, so my local cinema, the Open Phoenix Cinema, they give you, well, they don't give you posters. They have all the posters that after they've used them, they're just sitting out in the cinema for you to just take if you want to. They ask if you leave a donation, you don't have to. So I left some money and I have, from the cinema, I've got Ready or Not, a horror, Parasite, a thriller, Knives Out, that, what is it, a whodunit, and then I've got Little Women, just the most delightful film you'll ever see. And then I've got some other posters. I've got more horror films. I've got Us. I've got Midsummer. I have
Midsummer's a good one.
Horror film, Twilight. And I have some little stills from A Star Is Born that I got from the vinyl that avid Good Bit listener Claudia Kelly gave me for Christmas. And then
shout out to Claudia.
Shout out to Claudia. And then I have a 100 movies bucket list, which we discovered I can scratch Inception off.
Okay, that's very cool because we just realised that Inception is on the Inception is on the movie poster.
Yeah. We've been Inceptioned.
We have been Inception. I thought it was a dream, but then I realised it was not a dream. It was a dream within a dream that I woke up from and realised it was on the poster.
Which, whoa.
I don't know. Yeah, we mentioned Claudia there as well. I did not know Claudia was listening every week, so that's lovely to hear from you. And she texted me this week, which is great. So Claudia, if you're listening to this episode, thank you. We love you, and we are happy to have you on anytime. I'm just spoken on behalf of Aaron there, but I'm assuming he's going to say the same thing.
No, I don't want you on. Just kidding.
It's a 50-50 thing here.
When we do these sort of name drops of our friends, it's always interesting when you don't hear from them when you've dropped them in 15 minutes in. It's like, well, you don't listen, do you? But I'm sure we will hear from Claudia because she has confirmed herself as an avid listener. So yeah, we respect that. We respect that a lot.
Let's chat about Inception then, because I feel like it's a film that will take a while to sort of digest our thoughts. It is a bit of it is a film. You know what I mean? It's heavy.
You're telling.
Yeah. I don't like this question just going, what did you think? Because it's generic to say that about such a massive film. But if anyone would like to break the ice with their thoughts about Inception, then go on.
Well, so listeners, here's the thing. We were supposed to record this 3 days ago, and I had planned I was going to... 4 days ago?
3 days ago? That's a long time. That's longer than I thought it was.
Anyway, so I'd planned my day out. I was going to watch it just in time, and then we'd record the podcast, so it was going to be fresh in my head. Just as I'm about to sit down to watch the film, I get a text from Christopher John Moffat going, Aaron's not watched the film. Can we reschedule? I was like, oh, well, I've not watched it either, but I guess so. So
you're like, well, that's really inconvenient because I spent all my time watching the film and Aaron's not done it.
It's really convenient because I spent all my time planning to watch it, and now I'm just not gonna.
So anyway, so I'm like, yeah, no worries. Chris is like, okay, I'll be in touch. So I get a text from Christopher yesterday.
Classic.
While I'm sitting in online university, and he's like, we'll record tomorrow at this time. I'm like, okay, we'll push it back a bit. I got things to do. So that's fine. I settle it in. I'm sitting in class, I'm doing my thing, and then I go, oh, bollocks. I need to watch the film. I have class until 4 o'clock. Then I have to go into town to do some things. Then I need to come home. I've got a call with some friends, which I just cannot cancel again. And then tomorrow I've got uni all morning till the afternoon. And then I have a meeting in the afternoon. And then we're recording the podcast. So I was like, when the fuck am I watching this movie? So
You're a busy bee.
Yeah, so I woke up at 6 a.m. and watched this 2 hour and 42-minute long film. And I'll tell you what, it was a great way to start the day.
Yes, absolutely. And I was going to say to you, like, it's maybe not the best film to start your day with because it is a bit thought-provoking, However, maybe it's a good thing because it gets the brain going.
I disagree. I thought about this when I sat down to watch it without you even knowing your story. And I was like, I don't... The brain works best. Sort of, isn't it, around before 10 a.m. in the morning? Like, your brain is at its fieriest. And I was like, you can't sit down after dinner at 7 p.m. and watch a film like this. It's not natural. It's a morning film. Although I didn't watch it this morning.
This is not a morning film. I'm sorry, I can't agree with you there.
Not a morning person, but as a person who watched it in the morning, it's not a morning film.
Okay.
I'm not a morning person, but as a person of the morning, this is not a tough film to watch. Listen, I had been told my whole life since this film came out in 2010, so that's 11 years of my life. I've been told for the last 11 years that, Chris, you are not smart enough for this film. You will not...
Who has told you that?
Who said that?
Folk.
Drop them right now.
I'm here and I'll fight.
You're not smart enough to listen to this podcast, all right? You're not smart enough.
It was one of his favourite films and he had it on DVD and I was like, oh yeah, I've been wanting to watch it. And he's like, it's not really your thing. And I was like, right, what do you mean? He's like, oh, I'm not saying you're stupid or anything, but like, it's you need to really focus, I was like, right, okay, maybe I'll watch it when I'm older. I waited 11 years.
If there's a movie made about your life, that's going to be a pivotal scene. Nah, Chris, it's not for you. And your face going, and then you became who you became. It drove you to start a movie podcast.
I got so worked up by that comment that 11 years later I said, this is the time to put on this film. And I've been thinking about Inception because last year we saw Tenet. I don't know if you saw Tenet, but I saw Tenet.
I saw Tenet. Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, you know what? Like, maybe if I go and watch this new Nolan film, he did the Batman films and that sort of thing. Like, I'm sure if I enjoy Tenet, it'll give me a wee incentive to watch Inception. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy Tenet. I did enjoy Tenet. It was fine. I mean, it was so much. You know what I mean? And I believe there was 2 subplots below the main plot of Tenet that didn't need to be there because the main plot was already confusing enough, right? Robert Pattinson, Cedric Diggory in reverse, John David Washington, who I think is an amazing actor, actually. I saw that film Malcolm and Marie he did on Netflix with Zendaya, which is very acting heavy, and of course Black Klansman and things like that. So I was like, yeah, now I'll watch Inception, and I hadn't done it until this week when Leanne suggested it. And that is the rule when we have someone on the show or it's one of our turns. It's like, okay, whoever picks the film, that is the film regardless. And I can't wait till I choose Rush Hour 2 and I make Aaron watch it, or Airplane or something like that. And Leanne chose Inception. I was like, yes, this is the time. I've come on from when that comment was made to me 10 years ago about not being smart enough. And I can tell you, I'm smart enough to watch this film because I really enjoyed it.
There you go.
I'm glad.
It's a film, always, if you don't know, it's a film about dreams, about getting inside someone's dreams, making them fall asleep, get inside that dream and retrieve information that wouldn't really be spoken of. It's like information in your head. So Leonardo DiCaprio plays this spy who has figured out a way to get into someone's dream within a dream to receive certain information to get this, weapon, all the, money, anything he wants based on the people that he's getting inside their dreams. So that explanation alone made my head hurt. How were you watching the film? We'll go Aaron first.
I was fine. I must say the reason I hadn't watched it on Sunday was because I have this thing with movies anyway that if I don't feel right, if it was like, well, now it's a bit too late, now it's a bit too early.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I just cannot commit to watching it because I want to be in the right frame of mind. And this was amped up to the max with this film because I knew I'd need to be on form, concentrating hard, maybe go easy on the gin and tonics because you're going to need to, be lucid for this. So it just didn't happen in time. But I did it. And I must say, within the first 10, 15 minutes,
right?
Me and Anna watched it. We paused it maybe 3 or 4 times just to go, right,
okay,
are we with it here? Let's really understand what's going on, because as soon as the film started, I was aware. Okay, I see why this is complicated.
Yeah,
I see why people will say this, because if you're not switched on from the very beginning, you could easily just get lost. But the key is, which we found, we only paused it at the first 10 to 15 minutes just to really make sure that we understood the premise and how it worked, and we were caught up. We weren't getting led down a path that wasn't actually what's going on.
Right.
And once we did that, I had no problem understanding it, understood the whole thing, absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
That's what I can say in terms of it's complicated.
It's a heavy film and it's a complicated film, I guess, story-wise, but it's really not really when you pay attention and are invested in it, And what I loved about it is that so many characters ask questions within the story. Like, so many characters are like, so you mean this is how it works? And Leo was like, yes.
Their whole character is basically asking questions.
And it was so good because it was like, yes, I'm asking these questions too, and they were answered for you,
Yeah.
Which I thought was brilliant. Yeah, Leanne, what do you think?
Yeah, I liked it. I did like it. I see. The thing is, I went to watch Inception before, maybe last summer, I think, and I sat down. I was cross stitching. I'm a cross stitcher. I'm 84 years old.
Listen, it's a hobby.
And I was like, just put that on as I was cross stitching, and then I was like, I got 7 minutes in. I was like, I can't cross stitch and watch Inception, and I was like, well, I'm cross stitching today, so I'm not watching Inception. So then obviously watched it this morning, and I'm like looking at my notes because I was trying to like make notes all the way through, being like predictions of things that are happening.
Yeah.
And like my fourth little thing is, this feels terribly complicated when it's in fact kind of simple. I feel like this is going to be a long game and it was all a dream. And then my very last note is, did they for real just end that with it was all a dream?
Kinda, yeah.
They did, didn't they? Like, one of the interpretations of that is that literally it was all a fucking dream. Which
literally,
what?
He's still stuck in the like the endless loop of dreams.
But there's also
right?
like things throughout it that you're like, wait a second, is this, because obviously at the start they start it with a dream within a dream.
Yep.
So they start off, you're in Mr. Sato's dream, and then you think, oh, we're in the apartment now, we're in real life, when in fact you're actually in the other guy's dream. But then see, like, when he's like running through, like, is it Mombasa? When
I
Cobb
think so.
is running through Mombasa, like things are happening, and it's like men are appearing out of nowhere to tackle him, and people are like, "Oh, you're not dreaming now," and things like that. And it's really kind of like over the top in a way that you're kind of watching that, being like, "Is this part a dream?" Because things are happening that you're like, "This is not realistic." Like he could have just phoned Tom Hardy. Why did he have to go all the way there? Like
Right.
he's faced by these unknown companies that are like coming after him, thinking he's killed his wife, or thinking like he's not got the job he's done, the job that he's meant to do and stuff. So it's that way where you're watching the whole thing being like, it's in fact everything a dream, and he's stuck in a loop somewhere or whatever it is. Like I thought that was quite interesting. You're always
Yeah.
thinking, what's real? I don't know. To be fair, still don't know, but it's fun.
It's a great tagline for the film. What is real? I don't know. I enjoy a flashback in a film. You know, sometimes I do think they get too much, and these flashbacks in this film about what happened with DiCaprio and his wife and that sort of thing is like, and you see the clips of his children not looking at him and things like that, which is going to come later and all this thing. So it's like these wee clips are flashbacks, but they're also, where am I going with that? See, I was just confused
They're also
myself.
dreams.
Even, do you know what I mean?
They're
Like
also
they're also dreams, but you're able to keep track of them because you're well aware that they're all dreams. You know, sometimes you're watching a film, you go, "This could all just be a dream," but you know they're in their dream. You know, which I thought was difficult to understand at first, but once you get locked in, it's fine. You get the gist. You know, which I thought was the thing with Tenet. Like you kind of got the gist. But it was
Yeah.
still overly confusing. I couldn't believe the cast in this film, by the way. I knew, obviously, this was a DiCaprio film, but I had no idea that DiCaprio's in this with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Elliot Page, Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, Michael Caine, Marion Cotillard. And that's just a few of them. I mean, I'm scrolling down the list here, and there's so many more.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this is a Christopher Nolan film, and he can get the big guns in. And of course, Dark Knight Rises would come later on with Tom Hardy, and then of course Tom Hardy would work with Cillian Murphy and Peaky Blinders, and
Levitt, he's in the
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and yeah, of course he's in Dark Knight Rises too. So it's like, I wonder if this was like a project for Christopher Nolan to be like, I'm going to get my group of people, the people like Tarantino does or whatever, we'll have like his group of actors, and he'll just stick with them all the time. I wonder if this was like a big eye-opening film for him that way.
I don't
It's an
know.
interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, I thought when I was watching that, I was just like, DiCaprio must be the most, for me anyway, the most watchable actor working today. I just like everything he does. When he's running around shooting people, I was like, this is what it would look like if he was James Bond, and I kind of love it. I just kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of obsessed with him, and I didn't really realize it. But this film sort of confirmed it. I was like, I think I really love Leonardo DiCaprio, and I've not expressed it yet.
I'm gonna send you a song. Trisha Paytas, if you know who she is, has a song
YouTuber
about
Leonardo
DiCaprio. I'm gonna send that to you because it's just so you
basically
know.
what I just said.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, fanboy over it. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I'm in total agreement. We talked about this again when we talked about the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood film. Like, he just has this ability that no one else seems to have, where he can literally do anything, experience any emotion at the drop of a dime, and he's there, and you're just like, you're so with him, and he's just brilliant. He's got to be up there with some of the greatest actors ever, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd say so.
There's a lot of people saying around the time that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood came out, that he's like one of the last, potentially like the last real movie stars who, he doesn't talk ever. He literally just does movies.
Yes.
He's worked with everyone. He's not on, there isn't a Leonardo DiCaprio YouTube channel.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like he might be one of the last traditional Hollywood.
Because he's too busy dating his 25-year-olds.
Yeah, I love that Ricky Gervais Golden Globe joke where he was like, "Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was so long." That's not Ricky Gervais. It was so long that when by the time it was finished, his girlfriend was too old for him.
Yeah, he's
I
never
always think
dated
that.
anyone over 25.
Really?
Never. How old is he now? He must be pushing 50
Got to be
now.
in his
Yeah.
40s.
I think he's close to 50. Let me look it up.
A handsome man, though.
Listen, he's doing something right.
He was
He's
born in 74. So that makes him 46.
pushing 50. The man.
Yeah, I didn't know that about the girlfriend thing. Let's, each to their own.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. I thought this was good for him. He does a bit of everything in this film, as you say. He explores his dreams. He runs like James Bond. He misses his wife. He has this wholesome moment with his children. There's all these moments,
The
and it's
thing
just
about
like, yeah, you can do anything.
the wife, though, I don't know if this is going to be a controversial opinion, but
we love that. We love it.
I literally did not care one single bit about that whole plot line, which I know was most of the movie. But I did not care about Cobb and Mal. I also hate the way they say Mal. They're like
Me
Mal.
too. Oh, I don't
No.
understand why they
Hey,
choose.
Mal.
Yeah, why the filmmakers and writers make character names that are difficult to hear nicely in the actors' accents.
And
Well, I
and
saw
and then it takes you by half the film, so you're like, oh, Maul is his wife. Maul? Who are you talking about?
There's
Is that
mall.
some
I think
sort
we're
of?
going to the mall.
Do you know what I mean?
Let's go to the mall. Yeah, well, apparently I was watching theory videos after I watched this morning, and see, because they use Edith Piaf's song all the way through, Mal
Yeah.
is bad in quite a lot of languages. There's something like a link to that, because see the sort of iconic Hans Zimmer. Is it Hans? Yeah, it's Hans Zimmer. Like the
Hans Zimmer, yeah.
like the big, like, it's kind of like used in everything now. Like
Yeah.
they use it in it. Like that's the big sort of like sound. That's actually just slowed down Edith Piaf. So it's like the sort of link to that is maybe like that's why Mal is called
Maybe.
Mal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just really I lost so much interest in the film purely because I did not care about him and his wife or his kids. I was like, I'd just rather watch more Joseph Gordon-Levitt running around with no gravity,
How
or like
cool was that?
yeah, that was very cool. Very, very cool. And I was just like, I want more of this, of him being kind of cool than Leo crying about his dead wife.
I think that scene, the no gravity fight with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, is like this very famous scene, like the fight with no gravity, and I've seen clips of it for years. So
Yeah.
it's kind of nice to see the film that it's from.
Well, when watching that bit, I was like, oh, this must be very Christopher Nolan, because it really reminded me of like the fighting in Tenet, like the one where he's
Yeah.
fighting, he's going forward and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
fighting his backward self, but he
Yeah.
doesn't know it's his backward self. Yeah, it was like that sort of like movement. I was like, oh, so this is like clearly quite his staple, because Dunkirk's not going to have anything like that. So
Right.
I've seen Interstellar, but I really can't remember much about it. So I was
That's
like,
also a bit of a mind fuck as
yeah,
well.
but mind fuck. He likes to fuck with your mind, does this man?
Yeah. That's
He
his
seems
style,
like
isn't it?
more of a sort of psychoanalytical scientist than a movie director. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the amount of meticulous planning and writing and sort of science that goes into his films, like it's impressive. But thinking of trying to come up with these ideas gives me a headache instantly.
Absolutely.
I'm like,
And
he
also,
is
like,
a different guy.
Yeah, and every director tends to have like their style. You know what I mean? Like they have a trademark or whatever. And I don't know what his is. I thought it was like, the sound, as you say. He's always got this really distinctive sound mix, and obviously that's not him that's creating the sound, but he always like has a really distinctive score in his films or whatever.
Yeah.
Or it's really big sci-fi thrillers or whatever. But I just think it's like different ways to make you think about things. Like, of course, you got the Dark Knight trilogy, right? Which is probably his most sort of calm film, where there's not really so much confusing stuff going on. It's just Batman. Whereas you've got Interstellar, Tenet, and Inception. 3 films all about time, all about dreams, about your mental state, how your brain works. And it's like, if I'm going to sit down and watch a Nolan film, I'm going to need to sit down and watch it and be ready to take notes and try and absorb it all. And I don't know if I love that about him,
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't. What's the word? It doesn't inspire me.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? As a fellow film lover, and wants to create stuff of his own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wants to be in the business. It doesn't. I don't come out of a Christopher Nolan film going, "Oh yes, that is it.
I want to act now." Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. And they're not feel good films, are they?
Right, nah, good
I
point.
feel like they're almost that way where he's trying to make you feel like you're dumb. Because if you don't get it, then they're like, I guess film's just not for you. Like
This is what I
Christopher
mean.
the Playground. So it makes you feel like, oh, I'm not quite smart enough for this film. And it's like, no, like just enjoy a movie. Who cares?
Yeah.
Overcomplicating. I mean, I sound like I'm shitting on the film when I actually really enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you're like, just lay it all out for me. Let me enjoy the action.
I think that's a real thing with like directors and stuff. Like, what do you mean you don't like a Tarantino film? I look down on you for that. You know what I mean?
Me one.
Like Martin Scorsese films have to be perfect to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean you don't understand? Oh, really? You don't understand the Nolan film? Maybe it's not quite for you then. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's a sort of thing that people do, and I think that it's just
a
different
film
styles
bro.
with directors.
It's a film bro thing, and it's like quite nice about you two is that you're not film bros. Like you love movies, you love watching films, you have a literal podcast about talking about films, but you're
Right.
not film bros who'll be like, "You've not seen all of Tarantino's works?" Because obviously I've
Yeah.
not. You've never once been like, "Leanne,
Yeah,
that's
come on.
come on." I mean, you've been like, "Oh, you'll like this one."
Yeah.
Have I watched it? No. Will I watch them? Probably not.
Probably not.
Well, if we do it on the podcast, you will. If we do it on the podcast, you will.
If you force me to, I will not be pleased. I quite like also being like me and my friend Laura talk about this because yous are gonna be mad actually. You're gonna film bro now, but she's never seen Star Wars, and she's never seen like things like that. And she kind of like we were saying we kind of like having something iconic like that you've never seen because then when you say that people are like, "What do you mean you've not seen Star Wars?"
Yeah,
Aye.
the freak out.
You know,
Freak out
like
is nice. I hate that sort of social. As soon as someone, I guess it's a particular type of person that says you haven't seen this, I'm
Yeah.
immediately like, I'm never going to watch it. And if
Exactly.
I hadn't seen Star Wars as a child, would I be fuck watching that now? I'd be like, get away from that hype. I'm not involved. I'm going to watch all these B art house movies, and no one's going to know.
Yeah.
But I totally get the Star Wars thing. I mostly, as a complete Star Wars guy, well, I think everyone on the Good Bit loves Star Wars. But when I hear that she hasn't seen it, my immediate thought is jealousy. I'm jealous.
Right.
I'm jealous that she's gonna someday, I'm
Yeah.
sure, experience
We're
that for the
trying to
first time.
Experience this.
one of my friends, another one of our friends, just kind of got into Star Wars, and he was like, "Whoa, I love these." So she's like trying to get him. No, he's trying to get her into it, sort of. But we'll see. Probably it's unlikely. She loves to have the drama of being like, "I've never seen it," but that's fair on her. That's me with Tarantino.
My only thing with that, I mean, there's loads of films that we all haven't seen, but I've seen every episode of Breaking Bad apart from the last one because I was binging it all, and then I got to the last episode and something happened, not bad, but something happened in my life where I just stopped watching it. I was distracted by something else, and I've still never seen it. I don't know what happens, but I've seen every other bit.
That's funny. I do
Wow.
that with a lot of TV shows. I don't watch maybe like the last season or the last episode because then if I really like it, it's never ended.
Like that.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I've
Sometimes
watched all of Freaks and Geeks through about 3 times apart from the last episode. I've never seen the last episode.
Oh wow, that's an actual thing. Wow, I like that.
last week I watched Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire for the first time in about 3 years or something because I just read the book and I'm doing this thing right now. I'm reading the book and then watching the film. And I was talking to my sister about it and she's like, I sometimes turn the film off at the end of the maze. You know what I mean?
Why?
Because she doesn't want Cedric to die, doesn't want Voldemort to come back, doesn't want everything to be revealed. Spoiler. So sometimes you just do that. You know, it's like an ideal idea for watching a film.
Al Pacino over here.
Well, I'll tell you, things I have seen the end of. I've seen the end of Inception.
Yes.
And what did you think of the end?
What do you think of the ending?
Well, I liked it. I like the silence. Sorry, I liked how it makes you think that he's in a dream because obviously he turns the thing and doesn't look to see if it falls, and it looks like the kids are the same, but the kids are not the because obviously you've seen them throughout the dream wearing the same outfit. You've never seen
Right.
their faces, and you're like, well, if this has happened over like however many years since the wife died, those kids should be older. But the kids are slightly older. There's different actors, and one of them's actually Christopher Nolan's son. So he plays the son.
Wow.
In one don't know which one it is. So they actually do have the children slightly over, but it looks like they're exactly the same. So I
So
quite
it's
like
all
that.
open to.
Yeah, it's like they've made it been like, well, no, because the kids have grown up, but then you're like, well, but the turn hasn't stopped, and the kid, so it's quite. I like that. I don't often like an ambiguous ending. I like to have things close cut, and I say
me
as
too.
I don't watch the end of episodes for things, but anyway, I like having a final like, okay, yes, that's what that meant, and that's what happened there, which obviously you do not get with Inception.
Yeah, it's like
But
a beginning, middle, and end. I like that too. I prefer
yeah,
that to an open ending. Absolutely.
yeah, I like that clear cut. But in this, I enjoyed it because there's so many ways that you can look at it. You can be like, it was all a dream. None of it was a dream. Like, well, I mean, some of it was a dream, but
Right.
It's
None
Some
of
of
it.
the
None
film
of it.
was a dream. Yes, it was.
None of it was a dream. They were all just
all real.
Yeah.
absolutely.
The world is
fucked.
ending. Like just like the sky just falls down and walls just collapse and buildings and stuff. That's just how life is back then.
Paris was split in half, and they were like, yeah, it's real.
Yeah,
It's a dream.
yeah.
Yeah.
Again, lots of great performances. There's not a bad one in the film, really.
No.
And I was thinking they were bringing in loads of characters, and I was like, God, like not only is the plot confusing, but I'm going to need to remember all these characters' names and what they are and stuff. But I didn't feel like that at all. Like the core group of characters, I always just thought they all had their own different wee thing going, and they were all really good.
So nice. I really loved Sato. He was.
Yeah, me too.
Just from the beginning, like literally one of the first things I wrote in my notes was his dramatic when he's like talking to Cobb, and then he's like, "Or that we are really asleep," and I was like, "Whoa, man, we're asleep."
Yeah, I like how they start. We're asleep. I like that. I like the start of that. Just because like I was expecting, I'm sure there was going to be a time jump at some point, but I was expecting that to be the start of the film, and then we'll go on. I didn't realize that was a time jump, the first scene, which is really interesting. Ken Watanabe is the name of the actor.
Yeah.
Very good performance.
I just liked in fact, the growth of that character. If you're looking at it, that that section was all the dream, and then the end is real life. Is you see, because obviously he was stuck in limbo. Like he was there, he aged, he was an old man, and everything he's like the whole film's basically they're doing this because he wants money. Like he only cares about his investments, and all of this is for his financial gain. And when they wake up on the plane, he doesn't go like, "Yes, my
He's
money."
over that.
Secure. He's like, okay, I guess I'll make this phone call now, and he's very subdued, and I just liked it. I thought he was quite a nice character. I loved the fact that he just bought the airline, so he could
why
not? I was like, yeah, baller move. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and also the fact he was shot too. You know what I mean? It added that wee sort of moment where you're like, oh my God, are we going to lose him? And then like, it's a dream. Can we lose him? Like, it's just a weird way to look at it. I thought it was really good.
Starts shouting at the uncle, and he's like, "Oh, you've changed!" And then Tom Hardy's behind him, like, "No, no."
That was a good scene. I like that. Yeah, because it hadn't happened yet. That was a good scene.
It was good.
Yeah,
that was kind of one of the. I think we laughed out loud when he woke up, like, because just like the ultimate wake up from a dream thing, he's just sort of like he's just lived his life, and he's like, "What? Oh, that's such a bizarre concept."
I'm a young man again. Like,
oh my God,
we were young men together, and it's like, well, you are still.
It's like Interstellar, and obviously you said you don't remember it, but there's a bit where Matthew McConaughey can like see his daughter's future or something.
Yeah.
And then it's all just this thing in his head, and like that stuff is like a mind screw as well, It's just like, what? How would that even be possible? And then it got me thinking about dreams too. What are dreams? Like, what do we dream about? Do we have a say in what we dream about? Is it like self-inflicted if we're thinking about something and we just dream about it, or is it just by absolute random facts that are stored in your mind that come to the front of your mind when you're sleeping, and that's what you dream about? I don't know. Some of the dreams I wake up and I'm like, why on earth was I thinking about that?
I have the most like vivid, weird dreams, and I can usually remember them when I wake up. And I have ones that are like recurring dreams, and I'm like, oh, I'm here again. Yeah, but I have you have all been in my. Do you not remember when we used to go for nights out? I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be like, right, what was real? Because my dream that night would be of the night out, and I couldn't remember what had happened and what I'd actually done in a dream. Did I Inception myself back in the day?
You were incepted.
I don't know, but I do enjoy your dreams. I do enjoy when I'm in your dreams, Leanne. They're always a good time.
Yeah. We have a good laugh.
We have a good time.
We should do it again. Yeah, I ended up, especially when I was in college, I'd dream about loads of people in my class, and then I would tell them, you know what I mean, and then they would kind of think it was weird.
You're seeing you still make appearances in my dreams. I had a big dream week, and you were all of you were there, like everyone from college. All the people I was like, oh, you're here, but then like there was nice people like, oh, you're here, Aaron. Like I've not seen you in years. I don't know how many.
I like how you said Aaron there. Oh my god, you're here. Oh my god, you're here, Aaron. I know where I
you're here?
stand. That's fine.
I know you're in the you were there, Chris. You know.
I was
remember.
there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't have any clothes on either. What a
It was a weird day at college.
This is going to be weird tonight, though. We're all going to go to bed and we're all going to be in each other's dream, and it's going to be like Inception.
Us and Leo DiCaprio. What a time we'll have.
I'll dream about him. That's fine.
Yeah.
Does anyone ever lucid dream? I feel like everyone says they do, but I don't know.
Is that when you wake up and you're like, you can't move?
No, that's sleep paralysis. Lucid dream, isn't it not when you're really aware that you're dreaming while you're dreaming, so you can have control, just like Inception.
I feel like surely those are some of the dreams I've had, because I've definitely
It sounds like, because you're like, oh, I'm here. That sounds like...
Yeah, oh, Chris is here. He's not getting any clothes on. Oh, wow.
I feel like I'm in control, but I'm also really, really not.
Yeah, it's a fine line.
They're whack. I do wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, whoa, that was very realistic. Like, there's situations I wake up and I'm like, that was, whoa, I'm glad that did not really happen in real life.
What I want to hear from both of you, what is your weirdest, wackiest, funniest, reoccurring dream you've had? I can tell you mine right now.
Tell me.
I first had this dream when I was really young, and I still get it very rarely now, but I think last time I had it was a good year and a half ago or something. But it's definitely reoccurring. We were out in the street playing a big game of Tig. There was a big group of us, right? And we got word that people and animals had escaped from a zoo. Now, I live in a big city. There's no zoo anywhere near here. But the zoo has gone mad and the animals are out. But there's only two animals that got loose. It was a donkey and a polar bear. So we were all going, oh my God, what's happened? They were all running and stuff like that. And then we would teleport to different parts of my street. I live in quite a big street. We'd teleport to like different houses in the street, and the donkey would be there. And I'd be like, why is this donkey following me? I'm going to go home to my own house. So I'd run to my own house, and I got in the house, and I looked at the front window, and the polar bear that also escaped was there, but he was walking on 2 feet with a waistcoat, a jacket, and a suitcase. It was like an animated character. And I would turn the lights off. Lights got all dropped down on the floor. I'm like peeking out the window, and there's just a polar bear at my front garden with a suitcase and a bowler hat, not a bowler hair, but a polar bear. And and that was my recurring dream. And every so often, I'm like, yes, back here to the polar bear and the donkey.
That sounds like it's going to take years to unpack in therapy.
Yeah.
But one day it's really going to happen. I'm going to be like, my God, that's so Raven.
I prepared it. I was ready. I knew to put the curtains up and shut the lights. And
that's my weirdest one anyway. What about you?
I can remember. I can remember one, because you said animated character. I can remember one I used to have when I was a kid, where have seen your dreams? Is it like real life, or is it ever like you're watching a movie and it's on the screen? Because I remember one in particular, and it was like me in primary school. This is a dream I had in primary school, but I would have the dream in the dream I'm in high school, and my boyfriend he's like a real live human boy, but his head is Chuck from the Rugrats.
Chuck.
You know the little ginger guy? But it's not Rugrats Chucky. It's like the one from when they're all grown up.
Right.
So it's like middle school Chucky, I think. I don't know. Anyway, that was like a recurring dream I would have in primary school, was that high school me was going to go out with Chucky from Rugrats. But human body, animated head.
Chucky has come to incept you.
Yes.
Yeah. What did I do to deserve Chucky incepting me?
What a weird sentence, Aaron.
I don't know about reoccurring dreams, but I have this dream that I tell all the time when I talk about dreams, because I remember it so vividly. It was a scary dream, and I remember it being super scary. It was like I was on, I guess, dreams are weird. Like I was walking about my neighborhood, and there was this big scandal because there was fire trucks everywhere, and people's houses were burning down all the time. And like there was these. So I think it was over a period of time. So it's like you'd go back the next day, and it's like someone else's house has been burnt down. What's happening here? What's going wrong? And then I was in my house. Days had passed, and there was like a furious like knocking at the door, like really knocking at the door, and I was like, "What's going on? What's going on? Who's going to go?" So I went to the door, and I opened the door, and there was this shadowy figure. I couldn't make out anything. It was just like a shadow, and he just like calmly, couldn't see a face or anything, like lifted up his hand and struck a match, and I woke up in cold sweats.
Whoa!
That's sort of Black Mirror.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, it also reminded me of the death character from Family Guy. And I used to read a book series when I was in primary school called Skullduggery Pleasant. And it reminded me of that. Yes. You should write that down. That could be a potential film or something there.
There's something in it.
Yeah.
It's quite cinematic. It is what happened, though. I do remember that.
I'll play the shadowy figure with the match. I'm lanky.
I'll be the fire.
I'll be the match.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. Always a good time talking about dreams because you never know what's real and what was a dream. Right. Any other thoughts?
When are we gonna wake up? That's the question.
That's a great question. Yeah. Is this all a dream? Probably.
It's been a dream to be on the good bit.
Listen, you're a dream guest. Always have been.
Well,
any thoughts on Inception? Then we'll wrap this bad boy up.
Really liked it. Really gets your imagination going. It gets a lot of the talk about it is just about the fact that it's confusing. I think that takes away from the creativity that actually is in it. As much as we can talk about Christopher Nolan being a bit, I don't know, scientific. I don't know. It does make you. It opens your mind to a lot of imagination, like what can happen in dreams, and it's quite a creative film. Really enjoyed it. Would watch again.
Good.
Yeah.
And it might even boost your enjoyment watching it again,
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, you'd notice more, for sure. I think you'd notice more looking at it again. You'd look for the things that after watching the film to be like the staples of dreams and things like that. I think that was Let's go. Yeah, no, I liked it. I did enjoy it. It was a brilliant way to start the day. I think it would probably. I think it's going to go in the fridge in my kitchen. I would say.
There is only one kitchen.
Is it all our kitchen?
It's all our kitchen.
We all share the kitchen.
That's interesting. Your vote is fridge.
My vote's for the fridge.
My vote is also fridge.
Oh.
My vote is indeed fridge.
Okay, go to the fridge.
Back of the fridge, so it gets a wee bit frozen.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. I totally agree.
Oh, okay. You're both like, yeah, well, okay.
Okay, whatever. Moving on. I totally agree with what you're saying, both of you, because you can enjoy this film at any time in the day, and I'm sure it's going to be equally as confusing. But then once you watch it for the first time, it's no longer confusing. It's just a very well-made film, very creative. And it does. I'm not saying it gets a bad rap because it doesn't. People talk about this film as if it's this brilliant masterpiece, But some people like me who always just never watched it because it's going to take some time to really digest and not be, so easy to watch. But now that I've watched it, I'm like, yeah, just watch it. It was great. Like, there's nothing really else to say about it. It's just a really good film, really well made, very well acted, very well written. Really, I mean, we're talking about how difficult it is to make. Think about having to sit there and direct that and write that. Like, it's a heavy task, So, big thumbs up to Christopher Nolan. Thumbs up to any of you guys who listened, and thumbs up, very nice, to Leanne and Aaron for joining me again for another episode of the Good Bit Podcast. Any last words for the listeners, my dear friends?
Recognize.
That's a season 1 thing.
That was a season 1 reference, but listen, long-time viewers will know, and I appreciate that one. So thank you, Leanne.
Stay safe.
Stay safe out there, everybody. Take care. We'll see you all next week on the Good Bit Pod.